Flash floods don't send calendar invites. They show up loud, fast, and unforgiving. One minute you're hearing the low rumble of distant thunder. The next minute, the street, the trail, the riverbed you trusted, turns into a conveyor belt of mud, cars, trees, and anything unlucky enough to be in the way. This is a countdown of 5 flash floods that arrived with almost no warning and changed everything in minutes. We'll track what set each one off, how it unfolded, and what those few intense moments felt like from the ground. No fluff, no detours, just the anatomy of sudden water. Location Alcanar, Spain. Date September 2021.
Parece un río, una cascada.
¿O estás retratando?
Sí. Mireu, per favor. No te... Mare de Déu, jo això no ho he vist mai,
Sí, a ver aquestes branquetes.
31.
It began with a low-pressure system locals know all too well. Dana. The kind that spins over the Mediterranean, squeezes moisture out of the sky, and aims it like a fire hose at the coast. In Alcanar, a quiet Catalan town wedged between hills and sea, the first warning signs were easy to misread. Lightning flickering in the distance, a steady patter rising to a hammering drum. Then the downpour outran the drains. Water, thick and brown with soil, took over the streets. Parked cars that looked heavy and planted suddenly bobbed like bath toys, bumping door to door before sliding nose first down the slope toward the waterfront. Patio chairs, those lightweight stackable ones outside cafes, shot past like they'd been cut loose from a sling. People filmed from balconies because there was nothing else to do but document the moment the town became a river. Over 215 liters per square meter fell on Alcanar, an entire month's worth of rain shoved into hours. Across mainland Spain, alerts stacked up, and overnight storms lit up the sky with roughly 9,000 lightning strikes. In Alcanar, mercifully, there were no immediate reports of casualties. But you could see how thin the line is between "this is wild" and "this is deadly." The Ebro Delta took the hit like a shield, and still the streets filled, the cars drifted, and everyone watching understood that the rules had changed for the day. Flash floods aren't just about depth, they're about speed, momentum, and what the water carries. Here the Mediterranean didn't rise to meet the town. The town slid to meet the sea. Location: Waioka, Hawaii, USA. Date: March 2021.
Wow, here it comes, buddy. You can see the mist already. Yeah. There it is. Wow.
The draw of Wyoka Pond is simple. Clear water in a lava bowl, jungle tight around the edges, the ocean breathing just beyond. It looks like a safe pocket, a place where you can swim, jump, and forget everything except the sound of water. But flash floods don't care about postcards. Upstream, rain can turn a peaceful stream into a conveyor belt of runoff, and by the time you notice the water rising, the current is already rewriting the day. At 9:56 a.m., the call went out. Multiple swimmers swept from the pond toward the ocean. Rescue crews scrambled, Engine 7, Rescue 10, Air 1, threading helicopter blades through weather that refused to cooperate. 2 swimmers clawed to safety, finding rock and holding it like a lifeline. A third was pushed out into open water, fought the drag, and somehow made it back to shore. One person went missing, last seen clinging to rock as the pond flipped from calm to surge. Searchers fanned out. From the air, the coastline looks jagged and close. From the ground, every step is slick, and every minute matters. Locals joined crews, scanning coves and black rock shelves where the ocean tries to hide what it takes. Around 1:30 p.m., Engine 7, with residents guiding the way, found the missing swimmer on the rocky shoreline. Unresponsive. Air 1 lifted the victim out. Medics waited. The timeline stopped there, pronounced at the scene. Location Colorado Front Range, USA. Date September 2013.
What are you doing? Jada, you might want to move. I don't think you can get up them rocks quick enough. That water's too thick to run through. Going down, it's worse than a police going down.
cold front drifted in and then refused to leave. It parked itself over the front range like a stalled freight train, while warm, humid monsoonal air kept feeding it fuel. The result wasn't a single storm, but a long, sustained release of water. Rain measured in inches, climbing to numbers people normally associate with a season, not a weekend. In Boulder County, gauges hit 9.08 inches in one day, and up to 18 inches by mid-month, roughly matching the area's average annual precipitation. The roads that cling to canyon walls became sluiceways. Creek beds widened into freeways, taking out chunks of infrastructure, slicing through neighborhoods, and spitting debris into places that never thought of themselves as flood zones. The flood footprint ran nearly 200 miles north to south, across 17 counties. Emergency declarations stacked up, local, state, federal. Sirens and alerts felt constant because they were. Statisticians later gave the storm a number, a 1 in 1,000 annual exceedance probability in spots. That's the dry way to say rare. It doesn't capture what people felt when basements filled in minutes, when a dry gulch transformed into a churning brown tongue, or when a familiar footbridge simply wasn't there anymore. The energy of water moving downhill compounds with every bend and every culvert. Once momentum builds, the river writes the map. Location: Chamoli District, Uttarakhand, India. Date: February 2021.
अरे संतरी कहाँ पे संतरी वो नीचे भाग रहा है हुआ चला जाएगा हाँ संतरी बच गया आप लोग भयंकर हो गया भयंकर
The high Himalaya stores water two ways, in the air as storms and in the ice as time. When a chunk of that time breaks loose, the downhill story can go from years to minutes. In Chamoli, a mass detached glacial ice and rock and turned potential energy into velocity. A roar built in a valley where sound usually carries bird calls and the distant snap of ice. First came a wall of debris-laden water, then the proof of its power. Concrete torn out of mountainsides, turbines and towers wrenched from their footings. The Rishiganga hydroelectric dam disappeared under the surge. Down valley, the Tapovan Vishnugad project took heavy damage. This wasn't a clean blue wave. It was a moving cross-section of the mountain. Ice, gravel, silt, boulders ground into a slurry and funneled into the Dauliganga River. The speed turns into battering rams, every bend a lever against the valley's infrastructure. On the ground, alarms and shouts braided into a single message. Get up, get high, get out of the channel. But roads hug rivers here, and villages cling to slopes. Evacuation is never simple when the exit routes sit in the same valley the flood is trying to claim. Rescue teams pushed in as soon as they could. The landscape kept changing under their boots. In the aftermath, satellite images told the macro story: fragmented ice, exposed rock. And field reports told the human one: missing workers, stranded families, bridges gone. Location: San Gabriel, Jalisco, Mexico. Date: June 2019.
Verga. Ayúdale.
No significant rain fell over town. That detail matters because it explains the shock. The sky didn't warn the streets of San Gabriel. The mountains did. Up there, on slopes recently scorched by wildfire, the soil had lost its grip. Vegetation that would have slowed water and held ash in place was gone. The hillsides turned hydrophobic by heat. When heavy rain hit those higher basins, the runoff didn't meander. It gathered, sped up, and chose a channel. The Apango and Salsipuides rivers. What entered San Gabriel looked different from the clear water many picture when they hear flood. This was black, ash-rich, full of burnt trunks, a slurry with the density to shove cars aside and rake homes from the inside. 8 bridges took damage. Around 1,000 homes reported impacts. Electricity and drinking water snapped off because the systems designed for normal pressure aren't built for a river that remembers fire. 3,000 people felt the event personally: clothes, rooms, livelihoods, while a response force of hundreds arrived with vehicles, helicopters, and rescue dogs to cut through debris and find the missing. Flash floods collapse time. 10 minutes of rain in the wrong place can undo 10 years of routine in the right place. In Alcanar, streets graded for tourists became launch ramps for cars. In Huayoca, a swimming hole turned into a rip current factory. In Colorado, the sky stood still long enough to turn runoff into a regional map redraw. In Chamoli, ice became river, and river became force. In San Gabriel, a burned hillside sent its memory downhill in black water. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below.